Boreme, and it's been raining since Sunday. Actually, Benin City, of course, has experienced this rainfall for about 4 days now, but we're trudging through it. Well, of course. A man has got to survive, but away from all of that, it's sports, 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 and chief of all, Gianni Infantino wants to sell parts of the World Cup, and that has met stiff resistance from different people. The Prime Minister of Great Britain, who recently took over from Keir Starmer, the Bonham, has also had a say in the whole imbroglio. We can call it an imbroglio. It is a very serious matter because there is a certain Donald Trump involved. Probably the hand of Esau, because his son-in-law's brother is at the forefront of this whole furor going on in football at the moment, and some transfer news will definitely hit you very soon, as well as tennis news. Venus Williams losing in both singles and doubles yesterday. She isn't going to let up. She is still going to fight. Of course, she will definitely play in the 1000 elite tournaments. The series coming soon in Cincinnati and Canada, and the US as well. Serena still keeping everything on the wraps, keeping mum. We don't know what has happened after that knee injury. Of course, we saw what happened at Wimbledon against Mario Joints. She tweaked her knee, and since then we haven't heard so much from her. But Venus has been playing and did quite well, reached the quarterfinals of the City Open until yesterday, and let's see how she eventually plans to play in other tournaments and maybe progresses, because her forehand was swinging hit the right notes 2 days ago. Let's go straight in concerning the Federation of International Football Association, the world's governing body of football. Gianni Infantino, who is at the helm, has of course talked about a proposal which has met stiff resistance. A lot of people have kicked against it, but let us tell you the story behind the story, and that story is immediate. Let us tell you immediately what has been going on with FIFA, Gianni Infantino, UEFA, CONCACAF, CAF under Patrick Motsepe, and every other reaction concerning this proposed sale of parts of the World Cup. Well, people have frowned upon it, but that is just where we are at the moment. Let us give you the blow-by-blow account, as it always happens here on Sports Grandeur. Still Ohis Eboreme on OJ 106.3 FM Benin. All right, so Gianni Infantino is planning to do some things, some changes to the World Cup, and massive. These are changes that are going to definitely affect a whole lot of countries. The dust has barely settled on the expanded 48-team format of the World Cup, and this has hit us really hard. All right, so further development of the competition's future has already been sounded out, as well as struck by a fierce criticism. We're talking about, in fact, it's a backlash, really. So many people are against it, but what is the proposal on ground? All right, so Gianni Infantino is facing criticism after a plan was released to sell stakes in future World Cups to private investors. Do you know who is pushing this from the goal? It is Joshua Kushner, the brother of the son-in-law of the President of the United States of America, Jared Kushner. All right, so the president is, of course, is Donald Trump, but Jared Kushner is his son-in-law, who is the special envoy to the White House or the president on peace missions. That was a position that was established just for Jared. He held previous positions in the past, I think advisor on information from 2017 to 2021 under his father-in-law, It is not only in Africa that we appoint family people. Nepotism is not only an African problem, it is a global menace. It is not a phenomenon, it's a global menace. All right, so this is the plan. FIFA announced plans on Tuesday, 2 days ago, to sell stakes in future World Cups to private investors in a bid to maximize revenue for the sport. That is always what is going to be put forward in order to convince people, that money makes the world go round. Of course, when money is put in front or put forward, a lot of people are easily convinced without knowing the nitty-gritty, the details, the real details. Behind the mask. The proposal is to create a 20 billion subsidiary to run the World Cup, especially other events. Of course, the World Cup is the biggest sporting event ever, most anticipated. It's a 4-year thing, every 4 years, and not a 4-year thing, but once every 4 years. So FIFA says it will retain the majority share of a newly created FIFA Forward Enterprise, FFE. All right, that's the sobriquet or the abbreviation. The scheme, meaning it will still preside over football governance, competitions, match calendars, and regulatory as well as sporting decisions. So you're looking at this deal, and FIFA, there are some hidden details definitely, but they are putting it out. These are the points to convince the 211 members that make up FIFA. So let me repeat it, that it is called the FIFA Forward Enterprise, FFE, which is a scheme, which means that FIFA will still retain governance, or will still preside or be in charge of football governance, competition, sports calendars, regulatory and sporting decisions. All right, so it is going to be, the stakes are going to be minority, they are going to be small. So minority stakes, however, will be sold to external investors to raise up to $4.2 billion as part of the new proposal. All right, so debate has raged on for months in the build-up to the World Cup 2026. That FIFA's ticket pricing was pushing fans out of the beautiful game, which is widely regarded as a people's game, right? So the FIFA's main defense is that the World Cup is their main source of income, which they use to support other events or activities around the globe which concern football, from the grassroots to the administration of international events, major or minor. All right, so the latest proposal, according to FIFA, is to stretch the revenue potential. So it's to stretch it, of course, so that it can get to pretty much everyone. Infantino was talking about Curacao, Cape Verde, Jordan, Uzbekistan being part of their first ever World Cup. That was largely positive for everyone involved with football, seeing some so-called minnows of football getting their first World Cup appearances. Cape Verde especially doing quite well. We saw that Vozinia was in the team of the tournament as selected or chosen by fans, right? Not just that, Cape Verde also had Sidney Lopez Cabral, whose goal was voted as the goal of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So Cape Verde really won not just hearts, but awards. Vozinia, keeper of the World Cup according to the fans, and Sidney Lopez Cabral, whose goal against Argentina, that equalizer, initial equalizer, was rated or was selected as the goal of the tournament, and deservedly so as well. So billions of dollars are already raised by FIFA tournaments, let that be known. Of course, broadcast rights, sponsorship and other deals, the commercial and what have you. So the new commercial subsidiary, the FFE, which is the We talked about it before so that nobody's going to be confused. It is called the FIFA Forward Enterprise. That is the whole scheme. So that's what they're putting. That's what Infantino is putting forward. The whole proposal is titled FIFA Forward Enterprise. That's the proposal's name or title. So, how does this plan work for the FIFA World Cup? Billions of dollars are already raised. Of course, we have said that before. So let's look at another model and the similarities. We're just looking at how it is going to positively or adversely affect other aspects of the game as it concerns FIFA and future World Cup tournaments. The IPL, the Indian Premier League, a T20 cricket tournament, of course, was one of the first to fully embrace these franchise models, right? Selling stakes in teams in a newly formed competition. So the IPL was one of the first to say, okay, let us outsource, or let us sell stakes of the Premier League, and it has worked. Look at the IPL was formed 18 years ago. It has announced that its value has skyrocketed more than 11% in 2026 to $20.6 billion, a whopping figure. All right, so the other bodies will definitely want to take a cue, emulate that template, that model. So looking at FIFA, looking at the potential investors, Thrive Eternal, a United States venture capital firm, has been put forward to lead the proposed investor group, not inventor, investor group. So Thrive Eternal, a United States venture capital firm. The vehicle was founded by no other person but Jared Kushner, who is the brother of the son-in-law of the President of the United States of America. So Joshua Kushner is the brother of Jared Kushner, who is currently the President's special envoy on peace missions at the White House. All right, so that is a position that was established because of Jared. So his brother Joshua is at this forefront or in charge of Thrive Eternal, right? Because it's his brainchild. Other potential investors would therefore buy into FIFA events via Jared Kushner's Thrive Eternal. So we'll see the hand of Esau already. Remember that Trump told, not maybe suggested to, or you can say instructed or persuaded Gianni Infantino to suspend the suspension of Folarin Balogun to enable him play against Belgium, and that was primarily because he had the power and the USA were co-hosts and a lot of things, and he's the most powerful man in the world, even though it ended up being a bashing for the United States and Mauricio Pochettino, who of course is going to get a contract extension until 2030 at least. The 54-year-old was seen to have done well at the last World Cup, even though he eventually fell, collapsed actually in the hands of the Red Devils and their previous manager Rudy Garcia. All right, so the benefits that FIFA claim will come to the World Cup if this proposal succeeds, if it is majorly accepted, if majority say, oh yes to it. FIFA has said that all net benefits will be reinvested in football. That's what everyone says, really, of course, and that all countries will benefit from the profitability of the sport. FIFA profits, of course, we have said it before, commercial deals, broadcast rights, and what have you. Football is the world's most popular sport. Gianni reiterated in his statement, parts of the game have turned that popularity into a huge commercial market, which has ever increasing value. All right, so he's trying to convince those who he needs to with the intention of buying into his initiative, the proposal which he has put forward. So the job of FIFA is to make sure that the rest of football grows with it. All right. So FIFA exists to support sustainable, inclusive development in every corner of the world. That is quoting Gianni Infantino verbatim. All right. So UEFA and the Prime Minister of UK, the brand new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and the Bonham have come to criticize. In fact, not constructively, really, because they used good words that will definitely send home the right signal. FIFA already clashed with domestic and continental governing bodies during the World Cup. Let's not forget that the European powerhouse UEFA definitely had a lot to say, because Belgium was affected, and Belgium under UEFA when that Folari Balogun controversy. All right, so UEFA immediately released a statement. Now we're quoting UEFA. This crosses a line that football's governing institutions should never cross. According to UEFA, UEFA takes it extremely seriously. So should every national football association. So should every stakeholder who cares about the future of the game. All right. So this is UEFA Alexander Seferin, and pretty much everyone else associated with the Union of European Football Association. All right. So the soul and governance of football are not assets to trade. That should be in italics, really, especially with zero transparency as to who gains financially. I said it, that there are hidden details of this so-called proposal. All right, so none of us are the owners of football. It is not FIFA's to sell. That is an emphatic way to end the statement. It is football is not FIFA's to sell. No aspect of the World Cup is solely FIFA's to sell. Yeah, they're the world governing body, but without other associations, FIFA cannot stand on its own. All right. So Andy Bonham, who is the brand new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, replacing Keir Starmer last week, wrote on probably the biggest social networking site right now, X. Let me say this very directly. Football does not belong to investors. It belongs to the people who fill the stands and who stand on the touchline week in, week out, rain or shine. So the World Cup is not a product, he continued. It is the greatest competition in world sport, and it was never anybody's to sell. Dress the deal up however you like. Once you have sold a piece of it, you have sold out. Clear and concise. Football belongs to the fans. It always has, and it always will. That's the end of Andy Bonham's statement, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He didn't take any prisoners at all. The Confederation of North Central America and Caribbean Association Football, CONCACAF, said on Wednesday that it had not been informed, of course, feigning ignorance. We do not know about the FIFA proposed sale of equity to outside investors, and have been deeply concerned over a lack of due process. So there's no transparency in all of this, because CONCACAF have come out to say they have not been informed, but despite that, they are deeply concerned. So they've shown that they are deeply concerned over a lack of due process, right? So we're taking a long run, because the World Cup is basically why football is still widely the biggest sport in the world. So not the Premier League or what have you, the World Cup. So if the World Cup becomes an asset to sell, according to the UEFA and all of that, then there are a lot of things that are going to change. That passion will definitely decrease to the barest minimum. All right, what needs to happen next? Will UEFA boycott? That's the biggest question. All right. So, FIFA is actually a 200 country membership association. FIFA. Of that number, 55 nations fall within UEFA's governance. So 55 nations out of 211 belong to UEFA, fall under UEFA's governance. So if FIFA implements that plan without UEFA's backing, then you are looking at a possible UEFA boycott of FIFA tournaments going forward. Right, so Argentina and Brazil are the only teams that have prevented European nations from winning all the World Cups since Argentina won it. Since Argentina won it in '86. So 6 of the last 8 have been won by European teams. Only Argentina in 2022 and Brazil in 2002 have prevented European teams from winning the World Cup. We can start in '94 or in '98. It was France. In 2002, Brazil. In 2006, Italy under Marcello Lippi. '98, France under Yves Jacquet. In 2002, it was Brazil under Luis Felipe Scolari. In 2006, Italy under Marcello Lippi. In 2010, it was Spain under Vincente Del Bosque. In 2014, it was Germany under Joachim Löw. In 2018, it was France under Didier Deschamps, who has recently handed over to Zinedine Zidane. In 2022, of course, it was Albi Celeste of Argentina under Lionel Scaloni, and very recently, the just concluded World Cup was won by Spain under Luis de la Fuente. So 6 of the last 8 winners of the World Cup have come from UEFA. So, all right. So, what is the latest? Infantino has set a September 19 deadline for the 2011 member federations to accept it's a one-off offer of $20 million as part of a project to sell stakes in the World Cup, I beg your pardon, to private investors. Infantino said on Wednesday that singular and unique funding opportunity in a letter detailing why he wrote to everyone else. Of course, that proposal was put forward because they want to create a 20 billion FIFA subsidiary, 20% owned by private investors. That's saying Joshua Kushner and his what's the name of his company again? Let's check it out. All right, Tribe Eternal, that's the name of his company. So that it was founded by Joshua Kushner. So that 20% will be for private investors, which can only happen when they make a deal with Tribe Eternal, because Tribe Eternal, they are the main vehicle. So if you are going to enter the vehicle, it has to be Tribe Eternals, right? So that's basically what's going on at the moment with FIFA and their intention to sell stakes off the World Cup, which has been met with heavy criticism from UEFA, CONCACAF, and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and the Bonham. All right, so let's go straight to transfer. We'll spend a lot of time on FIFA, but like I said, FIFA, of course, the world governing body, the World Cup, the biggest sporting showpiece event. So we got to talk about it a lot. So, well, Karim Brigovic is actually going to Juventus. It's going to be the latest Bianconeri. There was a deal in place with Chelsea, 40 million euros. Of course, Xabi Alonso, former coach of Bayer Leverkusen, in fact, broke records, went unbeaten with the German club, won everything on offer, but fell the final hurdle to Gianpiero Gasperini Atalanta in the final of the Europa League. That's the only match they lost in the entire season, domestically or in Europe. And of course, they lost to Ademola Lookman, who scored a hat-trick in that encounter. Victor Boniface had his face in the stand in that final, unfortunately. So Javi knows everything about the Welsh, the Westlef, right? That's Bayer Leverkusen. Right, so I think they're called the Foes as well. No, Borussia Mönchengladbach are called the Fohlen, or so the Westcliff as Bayer Leverkusen. Sorry, your Henkins, probably the greatest foe. That's for Mönchengladbach. So for Bayer Leverkusen, we know they reached the final of the Champions League in 2002 with Lucio Roberto Balak. Zinedine Zidane scored that winner for Real Madrid. Probably the greatest goal in Champions League history. That volley, a left-footed volley from a cross by Roberto Carlos. We remember that match for some of us who are not so young. That's a whole 24 years ago. But that's not what I'm talking about now. Bayer Leverkusen definitely are going to break the record of transfer for an under-19 player, which was set by Bayern Munich when they paid 35 million euros for the playing for the playing capabilities of for the playing rights of Renato Sanchez from SL Benfica, who are affectionately called the Encanados. All right, so that was 10 years ago. So Karim Alibegovic was going to Chelsea, but he found out that he was going to be shipped out on loan to Racing Strasbourg, part of the Blue Co under that consortium, but Chelsea led by Todd Boehly. So he didn't accept that at all. So it's going to be a 40 million euro straight offer, which was accepted initially by Bayer Leverkusen. But if the player says no, he's not going, then that deal will definitely fall through. Well, it fell through expectedly, and Juve jumped in. The old lady have assured the 18-year-old that he is going straight into their starting 11. Straight into the starting 11, right? Straight into the starting 11, and that's under Luciano Spalletti. So right now, Karim Alibegovic is going to Juve in a deal that is going to, of course, be in and around with add-ons, 33 to 35 million euros. Of course, that's going to be the transfer fee, but if you add add-ons, performance related, and whatever, it is going to reach that 40 million euros, which means that Bayer Leverkusen will break that transfer record in the Bundesliga for an under-19 player previously set by Bayern Munich when they acquired the playing rights of Renato Sanchez from Benfica. The Bosnian attacking midfielder Karim Alibegovic did very well at Salzburg on loan from Bayer Leverkusen, 13 goals and 4 assists in 44 appearances for the Austrian club. And well, that's just about it. So he's Juventus bound, barring any unforeseen circumstance. So they have assured him a starting berth, and he also was convinced about it because Kenan Yildiz doesn't really play that attacking midfield kind. He is a marauding midfielder. He's versatile. He can definitely be given that free role. I mean the Turkish wonder kid, very good player. So let's see how they are going to let's see what Luciano Spalletti has up his sleeve in terms of ensuring that Yildiz and Alibegovic can start together for Juve. That's going to be a plus and advantage for the Bianconeri, the old lady of Italy. Moving forward, Newcastle have told Eddie Howe that he is no longer needed at Tyneside. Well, immediately his replacement has been prepared. Who? Matthias Jaissel. Yeah, Matthias. Yeah. So who is the coach of Al Ali? He is the number one candidate to replace Eddie Howe. So Matthias Yaifel is the number one candidate to replace Eddie Howe at Newcastle. It was an unexpected development, but that's how it is in football. Expect the unexpected. You wake up in the morning and things change in the twinkle of an eye. So that is what has happened at Newcastle. Eddie Howe has probably overstayed his welcome. I've said it here before in the show that my grandfather used to tell me as a kid that you never ever overstay your welcome. Leave when the ovation is loudest. I think when he won the Carabao Cup, that was probably the ceiling with Alexander Isak, Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Anthony Gordon, who has gone to Barcelona, Sandro Tonali has gone to Tottenham. They made 100 million from that sale of Sandro Tonali from Newcastle to Tottenham. They've made another 80 million euros from the sale of Anthony Gordon to Barcelona. So they've made money, but anyhow, his services are no longer required at Newcastle. The Magpies are going to announce soon the addition, or the signing of Matthias Yaisel as the new coach of Newcastle. Well, let's see how he's going to manage the likes of Johan Manzambi and Alaji, who have been bought from Freiburg and Monaco, respectively. They've also got Buzama Toure. Buzama Toure was also recently captured as well. So let's see how that goes. We'll continue to give you updates on that and other transfers as to go. For Chelsea, they are close to signing two oldies in Danny Welbeck. He'll be 36 in November from Brighton and Hove. That is as good as done. And Jordan Henderson on the free transfer from Brentford. Right, Jordan Henderson is a full-fledged 36-year-old, and in fact, the combined ages of the newest signings is going to be 71 years. They recently announced the signing of, or the acquisition of Maxence Lacroix from Crystal Palace. Let's not forget that Lacroix featured at the World Cup, especially in the semi-final. Well, not the semi-final, the third place match against the Three Lions of England, who humbled the French national team 6-4. Jude Bellingham putting the icing on the cake with that beautiful goal, which was one of the goals of the tournament, of course. But unfortunately, it wasn't the goal of the tournament. Sidney Lopez Cabral of Cape Verde has that honor, unique honor, that equalizer against Argentina in the round of 32. So moving forward, that's all about Newcastle. Chelsea, the combined age of 71 years. They are getting Danny Welbeck and Jordan Henderson, who previously played together at Sunderland 16 years ago. So lightning has definitely struck twice, and now at Stamford Bridge. Danny Welbeck will thus become the first player in history to play for Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester United. No one had previously achieved that feat. It's like Ronald Koeman, the only player in the history of football to play for and manage Ajax, Feyenoord, and PSV. So yeah, maybe Danny in his managerial sojourn later, after his playing career unwinds, would see it as something to emulate. He'll maybe manage Chelsea, Manchester United, and Arsenal. Who knows? Nobody can predict the future. Least of all me. I'm not Nostradamus. So let's give you all the transfer news as we have gotten. We're talking about factual information. We do not peddle unfounded news here. If it is not factual, then we do not report it. All right, so let's go straight into it, as we do not have the luxury of time. Yes. So remember that 2 days ago, Zinedine Zidane was unveiled as the coach of France. All right, let's not forget that Jurgen Klopp is the coach of Germany, and Sven Bender is part of the coaching setup for Italy. We remember that Um, the president of the Italian Football Federation did not okay that deal to allow Andrea Pirlo to become the new manager of the Italian national team. So they definitely had to look elsewhere. All right, looking elsewhere, they got their former manager who was there for 5 years and won the Euro 2020 for them, with Jorginho being the best player. Roberto Mancini, Sampdoria and Lazio legend, also led Manchester City to a Premier League triumph in the 2011-2012 season. That was what pushed, in fact, angered Fergie enough to sign Robin van Persie from Arsenal in a £24 million deal. And Manchester United regrouped and, of course, seized the momentum and reclaimed the Premier League in 2012-2013, leading Fergie to retire. Dropped the ball at that point. So what, that's by the wayside. Let us remember that we're talking about the Italian national team. So Paolo Maldini and Leonardo eventually resigned after Andrea Pirlo was not allowed to manage the Italian national team because of his ties to some betting brands from in Russia. Right. So now Roberto Mancini has been announced as the new coach of Italy, which has been okayed by Donnarumma. As Gigio Donnarumma has said, he's happy that Roberto Mancini is back at the helm of affairs. Giovanni Malago, who is the president of the Italian Football Federation (FIGC), announced the appointment of Roberto Mancini as coach and Claudio Ranieri, the Tinkerman, as technical advisor, replacing, or technical director, replacing the great Paolo Maldini, who resigned because Andrea Pirlo, his choice or his candidate for coach of the Italian national team, was rejected by Malago. All right. So that's that for the Italian national team. We wish them good luck as they have re-signed Roberto Mancini as their coach. Roberto Mancini, of course, has done quite well. Won 3 consecutive Serie A titles at Inter Milan, won the Premier League at Manchester City. Not many people can say they have done that. Bayern Zaragoza, Sacha Boll, and Joao Polinia are out of the Bayern project. Right, director Max Ebel has said they have no future at Bayern. If they want to stay, it will be tough because there are no plans to include them in the season's plan, well, in the season's project. So they won't play any role. So they've got to look for new clubs. All right. So AS Roma sent an official bid to Feyenoord for Dutch right back Javier Reid. Proposal is worth 25 million euros. All right. So that transfer has been going on for days, so let's see if Roma can wrap it up. Manchester City are accelerating the potential deal to get Ayo Boadi. Remember the 18-year-old Moroccan star or starlet who has done very well at Lille. The agreement between Manchester City and Lille closer, as well as personal terms with Boadi's camp. He's 18 years old and very intelligent, led a lot of academic had a lot of academic feats in France. Well, PSG and AS Monaco have reached breakthrough in talks to sign Manes Aklouch. The agreement now at final stages between clubs, details to be sorted, and then we can expect Aklouch wearing the colors of Paris Saint-Germain under Luis Enrique and Nasser El Khelaifi. All right. Carlo Ancelotti has told ESPN, in one of the biggest excuses ever recorded in football history, that the World Cup was lost during the hydration break versus Norway. Sometimes it is better not to speak so that people will not know what you are really made of. Really, that's not insulting the great Carlo Ancelotti. He's won a lot because he deserves to have these pizza period. So in his face. All right, that's where my mistake may have been. Whatever it is, I do not think it is newsworthy really, because so it just adds to the grief for Seleção fans. How can you say this sort of thing? Well, Femi Lopez has told Catalonian radio that they are very close to winning the Champions League after going within touching distance 2 seasons ago when they eventually lost that semi-final, that very exciting and thrilling semi-final to Inter Milan. All right, remember Frattesi and others doing the Lord's work for the Nerazzurri. Right. Rafael Leao's future remains open with Fenerbahce and Galatasaray both keen. So the two giants of Turkish football are slugging it out for the signature of Rafael Leao. AC Milan chairman Cardinale insists that only 50 million euros, which is the minimum fee, will be enough to sign Rafael Leao. So it has to be 50 million euros at least to get him to another club. Juventus, of course, I said it before, that Kerem Alaimbegovic is Juventus bound. 35 million euros is the package. All right, Karim Adeyemi, well, the initial package, not including Adams. Karim Adeyemi has already said his dream is to win the Champions League. I wonder whose dream isn't to win the Champions League, right? Even Patrice Evra, that lost 3 Champions League finals, would definitely not have wanted to lose them. Remember them? 2004, Monaco Porto lost 0-3 to Jose Mourinho's FC Porto. Let's not forget, Patrice has lost 3 Champions League finals. The 2009 Champions League final, in fact, probably 4. The 2009 Champions League final, Barcelona. 2011 Champions League final, Barcelona as well. He only won 1 against Chelsea. So I don't think there's anybody's dream. There's anybody who is in, or any professional footballer who qualified, or who, even if you don't qualify for the Champions League, who doesn't want to win the Champions League. So Karim is speaking the minds of pretty much everyone who hasn't won the Champions League. All right, so they have signed a deal at Barcelona until 2031. Congratulations to him. Gerard Martin on Real Madrid signings. Let them sign whoever they want. Frankly, I don't care who Real Madrid signs. All right, we only focus on ourselves. We'll compete as we do every year. Gerard Martin is saying that. Well, he's being boastful. All right, so well, good for him. Manchester City want Genomino really as new backup goalkeeper to replace James Trafford, who has gone to Leeds United. The Argentinian GK understands to be keen on the move. Olympique Marseille are aware of the interest, so Manchester City are on it. Alcy Lons and Christian Caceres to midfield. Well, all right, with Sangaré closing in on a Brentford move. So Sangaré expected to replace Henderson at Brentford, and Caceres among candidates to replace Sangaré at Alcy Lons. All right, so it's that transfer merry-go-round we have been talking about. Unfortunately for Eli Junior Krupi, he has succumbed to injury and will be out for the next 3 or 4 months. He has also gone under the knife, so he will be out until at least October. All right, so Alejandro Balde on links with exit this summer. I'm not leaving. Barcelona is my home. Messi said that. Neymar said that. Who else said that? And they all left. Figo even said that. And he left for Barcelona. He left for Real Madrid when he was captain of Barcelona. All right, so Monza have agreed to sign Ebenezer Akinsemiro from Inter Milan on a permanent move. Ebenezer Akinsemiro is Akinsamiro, all right, so that people will say using phonetics on Nigerian name. All right, so fee worth 7.5 million euros plus a 10% sell-on clause, as Sky Sport reported. Deal in place. All right, Inter are closing in on new deal for Pio Esposito after Jan Bisek with formal steps to follow in the next weeks. The agreement is until June 2031. All right. So some more. Al Hilal are in talks to sign Ilman Ndiaye as exclusively revealed by Fabrizio Romano on Monday, but there's nothing agreed on or done right now. There is just that interest which has been revealed. All right, so going forward, Liverpool are still in talks with Paris Saint-Germain for Bradley Barcola, who has said yes to Liverpool on a personal level. So the club-to-club discussion is going on. No official bid as yet, but a good relationship and talks to continue because Bradley Barcola wants to leave PSG and sign for Liverpool. He knows he's going to start that. Well, that challenge of replacing Mohamed Salah is definitely one that he fancies and has embraced as well, or is willing to embrace, because embracing it means that he performs very well. Michael Anderenen officially joins Bologna from Estudiantes for 10 million euros plus add-ons as revealed. All right, so Chelsea and Crystal Palace are set for formal steps. Maxime Lacroix has already signed for Chelsea. All right, so Fulham are closing in on Cesar Palacios from Real Madrid. Fulham want to raid Real Madrid for the fringe players Gonzalo Garcia, Franco Masitobero, and Cesar Palacios, who is the latest. Deportivo La Corona signed with Gabon and African football legend Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who said he only followed the wishes of his grandparents. Well, very good for the man. Juventus are Randall Kolo Muani and will definitely welcome the addition of Kerem Alibegovic. Nottingham Forest are in advanced talks to sign Osman Diomande from Sporting. We said that 2 or 3 days ago. Elton Alvarez expected to leave West Ham with first club-to-club talks between West Ham and Real Sociedad. Ajax are well informed about the situation and working on the deal to bring him back. Talking about Ajax, Tolu Arokodare has signed for Ajax from Wolverhampton Wanderers. So we said that 2 days ago. Very good deal, but we do not. Well, some Nigerians, or most Nigerians, are not happy with that. With what Wolves said, Wolverhampton Wanderers said about Tolu Arokodare. But let us see how that develops for Tolu at Ajax. Ajax is a big club, and I'm sure Tolu will be looking to do very well and prove Wolverhampton Wanderers wrong. Let us read out the statement from Wolves, officially letting everyone know that Tolu Arokodare will spend the 2026-2027 season on loan at Eredivisie side Ajax, who hold an option to sign the striker permanently next summer. Let us read it out word for word. The 25-year-old joined the club last September from Genk before playing 38 times and scoring 6 goals in Old Gold. Well, Wolves, the colours, Old Gold. 3 of those strikes were in the Premier League, the latest coming in March against Brentford. Although he featured on the final day of last season, the Nigerian international started just one of the club's last 10 fixtures to conclude the campaign. Now he joins an Ajax side which finished 5th in the Dutch top division last season and will play in the Europa League Conference this season should they progress through the playoffs. Too much information. I'm trying to diminish the playing abilities or the capabilities of Tolu Arokodare. This hasn't gone down well with most Nigerians, who fiercely criticized and attacked Wolverhampton on X. All right, so I think that's so much for football. Let's go straight to tennis. Of course, a lot of things are happening at the Movodela City Open in Washington. The Los Cabos is also happening as well, but Washington takes center stage at the moment. Right, so 19-year-old Rafael Joda defeated 36-year-old Kei Nishikori, the 2015 champion of the Washington Open, 6-3, 6-2 to reach the quarterfinals in Washington against Lorenzo Musetti. Another very impressive performance from the 19-year-old Rafael Joda from Spain. All right, so that's that for Rafael Joda and Kei Nishikori. Naomi Osaka has defeated Croatia 6-3. Well, she retired. Croatia retired in the second set while down 3-1. So Naomi is doing very, very well, and she has qualified for the quarterfinals of the event. All right, so we would have been able to give you the order of play, but for today, but for because of time, we may not be able to. But if we can, we will. Taylor Fritz defeated Camille Machak 6-3, 6-4. All right, so and he's into the quarterfinals as well. Top seed and defending champion Alex de Minaur, nicknamed Demon, defeated Stefanos Tsitsipas, the Greek god, for the second time in 14 meetings. Well, he's 2-12 head-to-head versus Stefanos Tsitsipas. 2-12 head-to-head. All right, so Alex de Minaur defeated him 6-4, 3-6, 6-3 to reach the second round in Washington. First round was finally complete in Washington. All right, so that's for that. Carlos Alcaraz is back hitting the tennis ball fiercely and ferociously, hitting forehands, spraying them at will. So while anticipating that comeback at Cincinnati, Alexander Ayala came back. The Filipino came back from 5-1 down in the second set to defeat the defending champion Leila Fernandez 6-2, 7-6. Well, in the tiebreak, she won 7-1. So a very, very impressive performance from the Filipino. He's breaking new ground week in, week out. All right. So, well, Denis Shapovalov, who hasn't reached his potential, came back to beat Hijikata 2-6, 6-2, 6-3 to reach the second round in Los Cabos versus Pacheco Mendes. Let's hope Pacheco Mendes doesn't upset him. All right, 2 matches will be played as well continuously. Former world number 1 Joel Salisbury is also going to come back from his mental break. 3 wins, 2 of them with Cabral. And we said before that Venus Williams lost in doubles to with Dan Schneider yesterday, and lost her singles match to Alexandra Potapova. We'll give you more updates on Los Cabos and the Washington Open tomorrow. That brings us to the end of Sports Grandeur today. It has been fun with Ohis Eboreme on OJ 106.3 FM Benin. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your rainy day.